Hello and welcome to Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, the show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland from Scorebook Live, Mississippi, joined as always by my partner in crime and father, Rick Cleveland of Mississippi Today fame. Dad, I'd ask how your weekend was, but you spent it in New Orleans, so you usually make out all right down there?
Yeah, I ate well.
Yeah, well, so did I Thursday and Friday at the Jazz Fest. That was a whole lot of fun. Saw some good music, but if you ever get a chance, listeners, the food is where it's at. Every kind of crawfish you can imagine.
Have the crawfish bread. Did you try that?
I had crawfish bread. I had crawfish pie. I had crawfish Monica. I had crawfish strudel, which is the first time. It was a new one for me.
Never had that one.
I know. But I think the best thing I had was the Bananas Foster cheesecake. I would love to give that. If I could remember the restaurant, I would give them a shout out. But it was fantastic. And I'm sure they'll be there next weekend if anybody is planning to go down, find the Bananas Foster cheesecake, and write me a thank you letter later. Dad, we got a huge show today. It's very cool. We were going to be joined in studio by an NFL referee, Sarah Thomas, the first
female official to do a college bowl game, a professional football game, playoff game, and then the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool to have Sarah in here and get her perspective on what it's like to be an official in the NFL and a trailblazing one at that. Before we get into that, Dad, there's a couple of things I wanted to hit on this week. What did you think of the Saints draft? I was just going over some of the players. I actually don't mind the draft at all. It looks like they drafted according to their needs.
Yeah, the main thing is they got a guy that they think can be their long-term left tackle, and boy, do they need one. And then, I think the cornerback from Alabama, the second round. Kool-Aid. Yeah, I think Kool-Aid's going to be terrific. And I think it was worth a fifth rounder on Spencer Rattler, too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they had to pick up a quarterback somewhere. I like Bub Means, the wide receiver from Pittsburgh as well. Got a little bit of help at linebacker with Jalen Ford from Texas. Of course, he's more of a project. And they did get another tackle in the seventh round, Josiah Eziram. From Eastern Kentucky. He's more of a project player, but you gotta love his size. So I think they did. I think they addressed. I'm a little concerned that they drafted Kool-Aid in to open up the possibilities of a Marshawn Lattimore trade. Since it's in the water out there.
They're saying they're not doing that, but who knows?
Well, the cap situation is what
the only scary thing about the Saints draft is that Mel Kiper liked it.
Yeah. It's never a good sign.
No,
you're right.
I mean, he's wrong so often.
Well, I mean, about as often as you would imagine somebody who does that for a living being. If it was my job to project how guys are going to translate from college football to the NFL, I probably wouldn't be very good at it either.
I'm not so sure that you couldn't do just as well by picking names out of a hat.
Yeah, well, I'd have lost my house on Johnny Manziel. That's all I'm going to say. The other thing I wanted to get into, Dad, the college baseball RPI as we stand. We're recording this on Tuesday morning. Ole Miss is at 27 at 23 and 20. Mississippi State is at 28 at 29 and 15, and Southern Miss is at 46 at 27 and 17.
Yeah, I think they're all three going to be in the tournament. State's still got a chance, I think. If they get hot, they might host.
Well, I sure hope you're right. I'd love to see all three of them in the postseason, although I think there's still some winning to be done out there. Well, without further ado, Dad, let's get into it. So excited about our guest this week. We've got Sarah Thomas, an NFL official from Pascagoula, who has blazed the trail for women in officiating, especially at the professional level. And we've also got Chloe Lucas from My Doc Said, the chief marketing officer there, who's been working with Sarah on a really special project that we want to talk about on the show today. Sarah, welcome in. Thanks for joining us in studio. How you been?
I've been well, and it's great to see you, Tyler, and of course your dad, Rick. I feel like it's family. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been a long time, Rick. I mean, it's just, and I love being a part of this.
Yeah, we're proud to have you. 1995, follow your brother to a high school officiating meeting. You start out doing middle school, And what? How many years later is it?
It was like 18 seasons, almost 19, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you do a Super Bowl. First woman to officiate a college football game. First woman to officiate a college football bowl game. First woman to officiate an NFL game, a playoff game, and the Super Bowl. That's pretty amazing.
Or I'm just glutton for punishment, Rick. I don't know. I fell in love with something that wasn't the norm. And Chloe and I were talking about that on the way here about loving what you do and where you are, right? And then I was just asking you about how is it working with Tyler. I love that. But I fell in love with it, and I still love it. I still love being on the field. Now all the stuff that goes on after, that's what we have to put up with. But yeah, being on the field, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I remember when you first became an NFL official, one of the NPR afternoon hosts called me to interview me about you.
Yeah.
And, she said, what obstacles do you possibly see? And I said, well, the biggest one is where you stand at a ball game.
Sure.
I mean, you're right in front of coaches, Bill Parcells, mm-hmm. What I said is she's probably going to have some thick skin and tell us about it.
Very much so, yes. I mean, yeah, you're right, Rick. I mean, I'm right there on the line of scrimmage. It's where everything happens on the home sideline. We flip in the NFL sideline to sideline. And I just know that, Rick, if somebody was coming into my profession mm-hmm. and they were handling what I had tried to master all during the week, and then I'm out there doing it, and then somebody else comes in and now they're going to dictate whether it's fair or it's foul.
Yeah.
I think I would have a problem with it if I, didn't agree with the person that came in there. So I take it on that I just want to manage the position. I want the guys to play the game. I do want to go unnoticed as much as I possibly can. And if there is something that the coach on the sideline is passionate about, I don't think that he's upset at all. I'm kidding. But I just like he's passionate and he's expressing that to me. I'm going to address him in a very professional manner. And I guess it was Gerald Alston that told me the first form of rejection is ignoring someone. So I don't ignore any of the coaches. I may tell them I didn't see it that way, or I may allow them to finish. Or if they're out on the field and they're chewing my tail, I may say, you can chew my tail, but you got to walk to the sideline to do it. That usually gets them off the field. But
having a thick good word.
Yeah.
Man, that's amazing. I mean, has it been fun for you? I mean, you said you fell in love with it, and obviously you wouldn't still be doing it if you didn't. But what is it about it that you enjoy so much?
Oh gosh, I think just my makeup, as far as I am competitive. Of course, that's kind of fallen off the older I get, but just always striving for perfection, but you're only going to reach excellence. And so I want to work that perfect game. And when I don't, then I go back and I look at film and I digest film. I talk to my mentors. All right, why did I miss this? Where was my head? Why was I moving? I mean, there's so many elements to the realm of officiating. Of course, the big picture is that it's the National Football League, and I fell in love with it prior to that. And then, like anything, if you think that there's a possibility, you just keep digging in every opportunity that you can perfect it, if you will. And that's how I was. And I always just wanted to manage my position because I hated the officials when I played sports and they probably hated me, but I don't ever want to be that official. But I love it. I do love it.
You played basketball and softball at Pascagoula, right?
Correct.
And then Mobile.
Yeah, University of Mobile. It was Mobile College when I went, and then yep.
That leads into the perfect question. You ever get thrown out of a game?
Have I ever gotten thrown out of a game?
That would be interesting to see.
I don't think I've gotten thrown out. I have gotten teed up a few times. Okay. And
a few times.
Yeah, a few times. I mean, a girl tried to elbow me and she missed, and then I punched her in the back and I got teed up for that. And then I think I threw a basketball at a girl She was being nice. She was trying to help me from hit the bench, but I didn't see it that way. And then I threw the basketball at her. But yeah. And then I've coached AAU basketball one summer, and I think I got teed up one time there. Yeah, I'm pretty passionate too, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
You have 2 baseball playing sons and a daughter who's 10?
11.
11
Yeah.
now? Is she an athlete?
Yeah. I always pray that my kids would be coordinated, not necessarily that they would be athletic, but if they're coordinated, then things just kind of come naturally to them if they wanted to get into the realm of sports. But yeah, Bridley's at William Carey, and they're Jackson, Tennessee right now getting ready for playoffs. Brady's at Jones Junior College, and then Bailey is going to go to Hartfield Academy next year. And that's when I told her she could start playing. I mean, she's played upward basketball, and she played rec softball. Anyway, so I just told her when she got there that she could pick, and so she's gonna play. I think she'll do basketball, softball, volleyball, cheer, whatever she wants to do.
Yeah.
Hartfield for girls basketball and Northwest Rankin for girls softball. That's what.
There you go. Yeah.
we can split time.
So
Those are some great
let me.
programs.
I want to tell one story about the first time I knew who you were,
All right.
and that is when I was covering a football game at Southern Miss, and Jack Vaughn.
Love that man.
He officiated 3 Super Bowls. He's from Louisiana, but he lived in Starkville. But he was a dear friend of mine. And he said, "You got your binoculars?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Look down there on the sidelines. Do you see a woman official?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And he said, "She's going to be the first woman to officiate NFL football."
I can't believe Jack Vaughn said that.
He did. Yeah. I thought I told you that story before, but
Is this the first time you're hearing this?
I mean, Rick's probably told me, but just the fact that Jack said that.
Jack was an incredible person. He used to tell a great story about he was officiating a Bears game one time when Walter Payton was playing, and there was a big pile up and a fumble, and he was trying to get down in there and see who had the ball. Jack was. Meanwhile, Walter untied both of his shoes and then tied the laces together.
On the field.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Have you had anything
Crazy like that?
Nobody tied-
No, I
ties her
haven't.
shoes.
Back when Jack was officiating, that was so long ago, it seems like. But no, nothing crazy right off the top of my head. I may by the end of this podcast if I could, remember something, but not right off the top of my head. I mean, I do know if I get in the middle of the guys and they're heated, my rookie game, I remember just throwing my hands up, and because I thought I'm in trouble. I mean, they're huge, of course. Right. And I threw my hands up and I just started yelling. And one of the players just stopped and he said, "We've never heard a woman's voice out here before." And I think that's probably, and I was very grateful that the woman's voice saved my life because I was in the thick of it. But I'll think of something, Rick. And yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. There's the size difference. Because, I mean, you're a tall woman, but I'm talking about there's out here on this. I mean, the people I've described NFL football players to, like you go into the locker room to interview them after the game. They're so big that, like, if there was a football on the ground and they were between me and the football and I could eat the next time I touched the football and they were going to stop me, I would starve to death. That's how big they are.
They are.
I mean, and strong. And I cannot imagine being up in there trying to break up a fight.
No.
That would be incredible.
You have your senses about last year. This one, I believe it was New York. I'm not sure, but I mean, we were into the fans, like the sideline, that deep into, and I mean, I'm just looking, but I don't even think about being injured. I don't know. I'm just trying to get in there and do my job and
That's
separate them and and I'm yelling. But you know what, Tyler? I'm bigger than some of the men that they've hired. So I mean,
for no doubt.
I don't know if you call me stupid that I get in the middle of it, but so many people when I go and speak, I'll have heels on. And so then I'm 6'1", 6'2", something like that. And people will say, "I didn't realize you were this tall,"
right. Because
when they see me on the field with the guys, I look tiny.
Yeah, right.
But they are huge, but they're like they're big teddy bears too. You know, I mean,
I thought Steph Curry was like 5'6" for the first time.
how tall is he? Like 6'5"?
I don't know, but like against those,
He's
there's
6'3.5",
right,
6'4",
right.
something
It's the
like
other
that.
NBA players. He looks tiny.
Tiny.
He looks tiny, but
Yep.
he's not. Yeah. The other thing about it, though, and Tyler, you've been down on the sidelines at NFL games or big-time college football games, is how fast
Yeah.
it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been a couple times that I've been on the sidelines and just at the last minute got out of the way because it happens
Sure.
so fast. They come at you so fast. Have you had any near misses?
I've been hit.
Oh,
Look here. I've got a plate and 7 screws and a pin there. You hadn't seen that on YouTube? You've got to YouTube it. It was, I'll set the stage for you. It was a bombing 29 degrees in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Vikings are playing at Green Bay. Very one-sided game late in the fourth quarter. And I took my eyes off the quarterback because I'm trying to see where the receivers are, busted play. And I just didn't get deep enough. And when the quarterback throws it, I turn to rule catch or no catch. And when I do, the next thing I saw was the sky. Two guys hit me. And Kyle Rudolph was one of them. So I knew something was wrong with my wrist. And so go back, they x-ray it. They say, hey, your wrist is broken. I get on the trainer's table and there's like 4 minutes left to go in this game. And I said, put that splint on. I'm going back in. Mm-hmm. And so I went back into the game, finished the game. It was funny because it was like the 2-minute warning. And I asked the guys, how we can speak to each other. And I said, hey, do you mind if I join you? And they were like, heck no, girl, get out here. Mm-hmm. And it was, of course, set up beautifully that they were at the other end of the field. And it was like the chariots of fire. Like I'm running the whole way. And Troy Aikman and Joe Buck are telling the viewing audience, hey, she's clear concussion protocol. Nobody even asked me if I had a headache because I knew I had a broken wrist. But after the game, I call my kids, Mom, are you okay? And I go, yes. And it was Christmas Eve, right? And they go, well, you do know that you got run over by Rudolph on Christmas Eve because it was called Rudolph.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But yeah, I've been hit and I've had some near misses. Dwight Freeney one time, my second season, he didn't see me. He was facing the bench. So our backs were to each other and I was facing the field. And he turns and goes to the field. And when he does, I don't even see him coming. I mean, he nails me. Now, my hat flies off. I can't believe I didn't hit the ground. But I think my spine popped from my neck all the way to my tailbone. I mean, it was just like, yeah.
Sounds like you got the full NFL quarterback experience with Dwight Freeney.
I know, right? He's a big guy.
But I'm just amazed that Brett Favre is not the only Mississippian from the Gulf Coast who ever played hurt in Green Bay.
There you go. There we go.
Or got smoked by Dwight Freeney.
That's true.
Oh,
That's
man.
right.
That's right. Okay, we have a few things in common, I guess.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, I'm sure there's some lightheartedness to there's some fun times too.
Yeah.
I mean, just from hearing these guys mic'd up, you probably hear some pretty hilarious things on the sidelines. I'm sure you can't go into too much. Is there anything, that you memorable on that end of the spectrum?
Oh yeah. One of the he was a great player, Julian Edelman, and just that dynamic, I guess the dynasty, if you will, and just the Brady and him and just all of the players that were there at New England. But Edelman reminds me so much of my oldest, just that guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's going to show up. He's going to make a play. He has what's between his ears, that brain that just functions differently as an athlete. And then he's very, very competitive. Yeah. And so I don't know. I ruled something and Edelman's like, you need some glasses. Mm-hmm. And I just looked at him and I went, now, what brand is that? Where do I get that? Oh, he just lost it on me then. And then shortly thereafter, it was something else and he's on me again. And then I looked at one of his teammates and I go, why does he have to be so angry all the time? And he goes, that's what I keep asking him, And so those are just a few, but I met Julian. He wanted to meet me. He was his retirement. He retired and then they weren't able to have his ceremony because of COVID. And then it was the following year. And when security said, hey, Sarah, Julian wants to see you, I was like, Julian who? And they said, Edelman. And his first question to me was, who's giving you the most now that I'm out the league? I said, nobody like you. But he wanted me to meet his daughter and his mom. And so those are just a couple of funnies. You hear all kind of stuff. And I try to keep it lighthearted because if you take it all too serious. Yes, there's moments. Of course, we have to be serious, but yeah, I try to stay lighthearted and with the guys, and it also humanizes us to where I'm not the authoritative figure, and you see me and it's all about me. It's not ever about me.
You told me one time that you were going off the field and a coach thanked you.
Yeah.
Who was?
It was a coach. It was an assistant coach, and it was my second season, and he was with the Giants, and he just thanked me, and I looked at him and I said, "For what?" And he said, "For what you're doing." He said, "I have 2 daughters, and I have been coaching in this league for 2 decades." And he said, "And because of you, they now think they know more about football than me." Not that he's been a coach and they've been around it. And when you hear that first year was such a blur, Rick.
Yeah.
Because, you get started and, all right, am I ready? Is anybody ever really ready to make that jump? I've seen it in male rookies. So it's not, and it's, are you ready? And then it's the first. And I'm not looking that way, but I know there's a lot of eyes on me and I don't put that added pressure on me. But the first year was such a blur. So the second year when I started hearing certain things, maybe it was that I was so happy I was back, my second year that I wasn't the one and done. But to hear those things, it really just started to hit home.
Well, you say there's no added pressure, but when you're the first at anything, the pressure's got to be.
It's there. It's there. But I just knew if I added that on top of everything, and I think that it comes back. The reason I have that mentality is just from sports, like the athletic days, just that mental toughness and the thick skin. And I've got a job to do. And playing basketball, there's always people in the audience, or the crowds, and you have to perform. And I knew I had to do that. But being a first, yes. There was a little added pressure to it, but
we were talking about how people thrive in pressure, and then there's just certain people that just thrive in it, and then there's certain people that just kind of crumble. And she's always been the person that's thrived in pressure. So
coaches call it it.
The it factor.
In quotation marks, the it factor.
Yeah. I would hope to think that past times I had the it factor. But I do know what you're talking about. And there's just certain things. The it factor is like when everybody thinks their little Johnny's going to go D1 or pro in baseball. And then you go to the fields in Atlanta, Georgia, and you walk out and you see the clubs are there. 32 clubs are there to look at somebody. And then you see the guy that walks out and you go, my little Johnny is not going to even probably make the high school varsity team up against this guy. That's the it factor. But yeah.
Yeah,
the separation.
It's the it factor that coaches talk about a lot, that I've heard them talk about. It's the factor that makes you perform the best when it matters the most.
Sure.
Right.
Is that confidence?
I like
that. Yeah, you know. And either you got it or you don't, because that's not something you can teach.
I agree with you. And I tell people, like, when it comes to kids, I've seen my 3, and there's a lot of things that you can tame or teach them to draw back, but you can't fuel, I think, the it factor. And so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm sure just as an average football fan, just from my perspective, like you look at it and you hate to see a game that comes down to one big play or one, potential call in your situation. I'm sure you guys hate that more than we do.
Of course. Yeah. But the thing is that with our training and it's preparation, I'm already on my tests. We started, like the Super Bowl in February, whatever it was, 13th, something around in there. And March 1st, we already started on test. And that's generated amongst our association because we're in the blackout period from Super Bowl to May 15th with the league. They can't reach out to us. So we're already doing that, exercising. Getting into the thick of that. And we've got to weigh in. We've got our physicals coming up. So it's never an off season, but the prep work and it coming down to the last call. And it's kind of like we're ready for it, being in position. I tell everybody, being in position and, give it to me. It's kind of like, I think back whenever the playing days, let me make the last shot. But give it to me and just, great players make great plays.
I've never talked to an official. I was going to ask you this. I've never talked to an official who doesn't like the fact that there's replay.
Yeah.
Because,
You want to get it right.
You want to get it right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember my first experience with replay, my very first game, Jacksonville State, Memphis, Martin Hankins.
Yeah, sure.
All right. He was the quarterback at Memphis.
Lumberton, Mississippi.
Yeah, my first game. And now he's a football official in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, the replay, whenever you have that first experience and it goes up and they overturn you, you've got that, oh gosh, should I be doing this? How does that get overturned? Because I saw it the way I saw it. But yeah, you want it to be done right.
Well, I've watched you a lot of times on TV and in person too, but I've never seen you miss a call. I know you do.
Well, Rick,
I know you have.
Yes, of course.
I've made some blunders doing what I do too.
Sure, of
but,
course.
We're human.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm telling you, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to be absolutely perfect on the line of scrimmage when it comes to line of scrimmage fouls. And then, of course, the judgments with pass interference and things like that. But I want to be in position is the biggest thing. Mechanically sound and be in position.
Yeah. Well, the folks at home watching, they're seeing it in super slow-mo replay. And, what in the hell were they seeing? I can't, for those listening, on the field, I cannot describe how fast this happens.
Right.
And how big they are. You know what I mean? It's tough to get in position to see around them. They're huge. And then on top of that, like the pass interference stuff, may be a little bit easier, but seeing holding.
Yeah.
That's tough. Unless it's like really obvious on the end, somebody trying to get around the end of the quarterback.
Yeah.
But that's got to be tough.
And even when it comes down to replay, you think within a minute or two, something that's clear and obvious for you to either stick with or overturn. But how many times I have just been around and heard people when they're watching replay and they go, I don't know. And I'm like, you don't know.
Yeah.
And it happens in like this quick.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've got 20 different angles and it's in slow-mo. But yeah.
That's when the call stands comes into question. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, this will bring Chloe into it.
Yeah.
What are you doing now?
well,
in the off season, what
I
do
will
you
tell
do?
you, it's funny because it's just, there's a whole lot of things going on. People go, Sarah, how do you have time? I bought my mama's old home place in Rosebud. So I have a farm and I love it. It's my place of serenity. And then doing some stuff with Lynn Fitch and preventing human trafficking. Just I have a passion for that. But Chloe and I'm lucky to be on this team, but it's Recorded Health. And it's just, I think, going to be a game changer. No pun intended. Here we are talking about sports, but and a life changer. And we have my doc said it's an app, and it's phenomenal. And I'll let Chloe speak more about that if you don't mind, Rick.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
What's amazing is that, listening to the conversation prior to this, just talking about how many amazing things are happening in the state of Mississippi, and even you speaking about the fight against human trafficking, and then just us being able to be a part of something so great, as my doc said, and the company Recorded Health that derives out of Mississippi. And basically, so me and Sarah met working in hospice care. I've always, as a woman, have looked at Sarah and have admired her and her strength and her ability in order to walk into a room and just take everybody by surprise on how well she speaks and how well she gets her message across. And so I've always had that in the back of my head. Well, getting in this opportunity in order to be with My Doc Said, which the app itself is ran by AI and records the conversation when you walk into a doctor's office or a hospital. It's between the patient and whoever the provider is. So that can be a nurse, that can be a doctor, that can be working with hospice care, and records the conversation, transcribes the conversation so you can see it visually in text, and summarizes it and links all of the key terms. And so why Sarah is a part of this is going back to Mississippi, being able to speak on this and speak on this well to so many different groups of people, and it not being just a person inside of healthcare that's talking on this. It's patient-centric, and so we want it to stand that the app itself is for the patient and for shared decision making for the patient. And so having this relationship with Sarah that knows the medical field, knows what it's like to be on the outside of it, and to be able to speak on that to so many different groups of people, because she just does that so well. And then as a woman to trailblaze on this end too, so.
Well, if anybody wants to find out more about this, or to have Sarah come.
Yes, and I will. I can't wait to.
How does somebody do that?
Mm-hmm. So we have a website called recordedhealth.com, and there's an email that you can always put in a message saying that you would like for us to reach out and have Sarah speak, for this app. And as it goes and as it progresses, it's not out just yet, being that we're recording this in almost May.
Yeah, exactly.
But in the next couple of weeks it will be. So I don't know when this, podcast will be out. But,
and Tyler, and this thing is like, you think about our state, and there are places that don't have the means to go to a provider that some of us could go and see. We could travel to the Mayo Clinic. We could travel here. And it just infuriates me that anybody here, or in our country, but definitely here in Mississippi, that they wouldn't have the best in care, at least understand what the best in care is. And that's what this app is going to do. Plus, who hears what the doctor is saying when they come into the room? I mean, I know as if I'm the patient, I hear one word, and that's probably what I'm focused on. So this records it to where you can go back. My mom and dad in the hospital, when they came in, my mama doesn't know what they're saying. And how many people are coming into the room that you don't even know. So you just hit record, and this is there for you. When they discharged my dad, all my mom was thinking, discharge, now what all do I have to do? My dad hears discharge, he's going home, doesn't hear another word that they say. Or young moms, go into the pediatrician, they don't know. She can't remember anything. And it's just for all of us to have access to manage our own health care and reflect back on it and see what they said. Yeah.
It sounds important and wonderful, because I went through. Both my parents died of long, bad illnesses, and my brother and I would sit listening to a doctor, and we're both, reasonably intelligent human beings.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
And then afterward, we'd walk out and we'd say, what did he just say?
Absolutely. We were just talking about one of the members of the team, a physician. And was it his wife, I believe, or somebody got diagnosed? And
I'm with breast cancer. And anytime when you speak on this app and you look at it from a doctor's point of view, a conversation that we had last week was even the doctor would they're specialized in a certain part of medicine, and they're not able to know every other category of medicine. So if you're specializing in let's just say heart failure, and your wife get diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, although you know everything when it comes to the heart realm, you're not necessarily.
They're human too. The doctors are human too. Yeah.
So there's so much more that can come into this.
Yeah. Well, we're running short of time, but I got one more question.
You got it. Ask it.
How long do you plan to do this?
Rick, I
steal her.
That's right. I will tell you, I told somebody this, and this is no joke. I don't know how long I'm going into my 10th season. There's so much more I want to do. And with our CBA collective bargaining agreement right now, how it's set up, I can't use my likeness. I mean, players can, but officials can't, due to marketing rights. And there's so much more I want to do. I don't know what it would look like for a 60-year-old woman to be running around. I hope I'm in shape to be able to do that, because the guys are in their 60s. But I have that daughter of mine. She's 11, going into middle school, and I want to be here for her. I just don't know when it's going to be, but we'll see. There's so much more I want to do.
What a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You mentioned the older. I mean, I remember Ed Hockley running around. I mean, he looked like he was, swole.
He's got the guns.
Yeah. Well, that was my fantasy team nickname for years and years, the Guns of Hockley.
I love it. I love it.
These fantasy names, they'll get you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Sarah, thanks so much. And Chloe, thanks for coming in. We really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. This has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
I know that you've inspired so many women, particularly in this state. So we really appreciate it. And
You bring it back for a part 2.
Yeah, we can. We'll come back.
she'll be our returning
absolutely.
champion.
Yes.
We'll wait until a Monday morning after you do a Saints game.
Oh, I don't know about that. Thank God I
Sarah,
have those
can you come
rules
in
in
this
season. I
morning?
can't do it.
Right.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Guys, that's all the time we got this week. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow Rick's writings over at MississippiToday.org, and you can catch up with all the latest in the Mississippi High School baseball and softball playoffs over at scorebooklive.com/Mississippi. Y'all be safe out there.